KUAM TVH, first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus, Guam's automotive leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Two separate serious car crashes over the weekend, one claiming the life of a beloved Inalahan resident, the other sending its occupants to the hospital. I'm Matsuki Hirayama with the report.
The island gains another charter institute as Mount Carmel Academy Charter School now transitions from its long-standing Catholic roots.
Hafide Tomas Manglonia continuing our coverage in Japan. Tonight we bring you a story from an earthquake museum and the lessons learned for future disasters.
Hafide and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thank you so much for starting your week here with us.
Well, two serious car crashes over the weekend, one deadly, claiming the life of an Inalahan woman. Family and friends mourning the loss of 33-year-old Gianna Lynn Duenas Mesa.
Our heartfelt condolences to her loved ones. Mitsuki Hirayama has the story.
A vibrant woman full of love and life. That's how family and friends remember 33-year-old Gianna Lynn Duenas Mesa.
It's so hard to describe Gianna in just a few sentences even. She was so full of life and she had this pure love for life, for literally everyone, anyone, anything around her. She was so vibrant and she brought so much joy to everybody that she has encountered.
Mesa's cousin Candice Mano sharing they grew up like sisters, making the sudden loss more difficult. Police say Mesa was driving on Route 14 Pali San Vitores Road by the John F. Kennedy High School Hill in Tumon just after midnight Saturday. Authorities say that's when she lost control of her car and ran off the roadway, the car colliding with a concrete light post. Medics with the Guam Fire Department rushing Gianna to the Guam Memorial, but she did not survive. More than 2 days after the crash, the scene now decorated with bundles of flowers to remember Gianna. She is a daughter of an Inalahan and mother of 10-year-old Eve Gabrielle.
For Eve, our sweet baby girl Eve, her mom's love for her was like no other. They were like best friends. And even though Gianna's physically gone, we all know that her presence and her love will live on with us, especially with Eve. So my baby girl, your mom loves you. She's loved you more than anything else in this world. And we're all going to be here for you for the rest of your life.
The roadside memorial also a reminder for other drivers about the precious lives at stake when getting behind the wheel. Her death marks 24 lives lost on Guam's roads this year alone, compared to 14 in 2022. Guam police continue to investigate the cause of the crash. Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Again, our deepest condolences. And just hours before another serious crash Friday evening on Route 10 near American Medical Center in Manila.
A car crashing into a concrete pole there, sending a couple and a one-year-old infant to the hospital. Guam Police Department spokesperson Officer Berlin Sevilla saying the baby and mother are in stable but serious condition and are being closely monitored. No word yet on the man's condition. Authorities have not released their identities. Still, Manila Mayor Alan Ngata praying for their recovery.
Our heartfelt prayers and for the recovery for those that were involved, and
with the area prone to car crashes, he's also bringing up concerns that compromised motorists' safety.
I want to mention, how to be cautious around the general area, especially Route 10. Since this incident and prior, been getting concerns about the stripings and things of that nature with the reflectors and just traversing up and down northbound, southbound of Route 10. I know it's been brought up multiple times, and the concerns, and there is a dire need of that to be done here and along Route 10. And like I said, it is considered a federal major highway, so it's a federal highway.
The mayor says he is working with the Department of Public Works to address the concerns. As Halloween approaches, he also reminds those getting behind the wheel to practice caution at all times and follow traffic laws. Well, the disbarred Guam attorney convicted in holding his legal staff hostage and threatening to harm them gets 5 years in prison. Defendant John Bell showing remorse for the victims inside the courtroom today. KUAM's Julian Hernandez reports.
Disbarred attorney John Bell will spend 5 years in the Department of Corrections prison with credit for the 2 years he's already spent locked up. Bell expressing remorse before Superior Court Judge Maria Senson during his sentencing hearing.
Your Honor, I truly am sorry for my behavior and plead for the mercy. For many reasons, I was under extreme pressure for at least a year leading up to my arrest. I did consult with my doctor, but he only recommended treatments for the physical symptoms, such as having breathing or heart problems. He after the arrest, he agreed that it may have been stress-related, possibly panic attacks or something like that.
In June, a jury found Bell guilty of terrorizing 3 counts of unlawful restraint and 2 counts of assault. The conviction stemming from the August 2021 incident that occurred at Bell's private law office in Tamuning. Acting Chief Prosecutor Gloria Rudolph reading testimony from the victims.
My life as well as the lives around me have forever been changed. My back hurt after I was assaulted and I had anxiety and couldn't sleep. I had to go to the ER and get medication. My back sometimes hurt in the same place from time to time. I sought treatment with a physical therapist. I couldn't go out in public for months. I never felt safe. I have severe anxiety anytime any attorney would need to talk to me, and it affected my job and my mental health. I had a career in legal, and that has been stripped away from me. I am currently unemployed, and thinking about going into a legal environment gives me so much anxiety. I have contemplated filing for disability because of what happened to me. I used to take so much pride in my job and the work that I did. My entire life has been about my career, and now all of that has crumbled away.
Prosecutors found that Bell threatened to bash in the victims' heads and chop off their hands. Bell apologized for his actions.
I spent 48 hours leading up to my arrest working with law enforcement to address workplace issues, whether in fact they were real or they're perceived by me. I met with an AAG specifically and asked a police officer at 8 a.m. the day of my arrest to please send a police unit. At the end of the day, I lost control and lashed out at my employees. I made things worse for myself by self-medicating with drug use. Since my arrest, I have proactively sought therapy and made huge progress in the last year. Having identified child abuse and neglect as the root of my issues, I have since developed the skills to better regulate my thoughts, behaviors, and emotions, even under tough circumstances. I feel I am now a very low risk to reoffend or to turn to drugs. I have been my own worst enemy and now realize I have no enemies. In prison, I have found myself, made peace with my past and my God, and truly enjoy my ongoing path toward further enlightenment. I look forward to family therapy that, according to my counselor, is only available outside of prison. I want to raise my 5-year-old son so that my trauma is not passed on to him. I want the victims to know how I now realize how crazy I acted, that I am truly changed, and that I beg their forgiveness. I am praying every day to not spend my 3rd straight Christmas in jail, and I thank you.
The apology in the courtroom included members of the Guam Bar speaking up for Bell.
Credible, respected members of the Guam Bar have come forward both in letters of support as well as testimony heard today that he, at least prior to this incident, was a very respectful, hardworking, diligent, nice person.
It was also said in court that Bell would serve 3 years parole once he gets out. Julian Hernandez, KUAM News.
A man on pretrial release in a terrorizing case is back in prison after being accused of molesting a 10-year-old girl known to him. 49-year-old Cosmas David is charged with 2 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct and 2 counts of violation of court order. Court documents state David was court-ordered to stay away from the Santa Rita residence where the alleged incident occurred. On Friday, the child allegedly told officers she woke up to the defendant knocking on the door, asking to use the restroom. The girl went back to bed before later waking up to find the defendant molesting her. David only stopped after the alleged victim screamed. Investigators learned David allegedly inappropriately touched the child a second time that same day.
A man facing federal drug charges has taken the prosecutor's plea deal. Defendant Dominic Joshua Cruz agreeing to admit to distribution of methamphetamine hydrochloride. Court documents stating Cruz admits he sold more than 55 grams of meth for $5,000 in Dededo last October. The plea agreement was filed in the District Court of Guam today. A hearing has not yet been scheduled.
Well, with mixed emotions, the Archdiocese of Agana officially said goodbye to Mount Carmel as a Catholic school. Apostolic Administrator Father Romeo Convocar wishing the new charter school all the best as it assumes its new identity.
It's a transformative time for the Mount Carmel school community. From 66 years of Catholic tradition to the island's 5th charter, the longtime private institution, now Mount Carmel Academy Charter School, a government-funded, non-religious school. Attorney Mike Phillips is the chairman of the Mount Carmel Alumni and Endowment Foundation, which has been overseeing MCS's operations since 2007, when it was headed for closure. The foundation successfully gaining application approval from the Guam Academy Charter Schools Council to convert in September. The switch further supported by now Public Law 37-30, allowing private religious schools to be eligible to apply to convert to an academy charter.
The transition is really, twofold depending on how you look at it. It's kind of the same thing. There wouldn't be enough resources to just keep the school going, not at the level that we expect. We just didn't want to keep the school open. We wanted it to continue at a very high level and even more. And so on the other side, the charter opportunity is really one where the legislature allowed for private schools to convert to public schools and provides more than adequate funding.
Phillips attributing the decision to make the change to the general loss of private school student body populations of up to 20% per year since the pandemic. That decline having a direct and limiting impact on Mount Carmel school functions as its funding relied on tuition.
Unlike public schools, with private schools, when there's a dramatic decrease in the population, that's also your revenue. And so you have to pick and choose between programs, which means kind of picking and choosing between teachers or not hiring more teachers, things like that really should not play a role in education if you're looking to provide the best possible education for students.
That elevated type of education Phillips speaks of is an activity and project-based learning with curriculum-enhancing learning proficiency.
Our Chamorro has gone from teaching Chamorro to Chamorro proficiency. It's gone similarly in music from teaching music and playing music to proficiency for our musicians. And we're introducing martial arts into the regular curriculum, and we will have a much higher focus on health and recreation, sports, and things like that.
But won't be part of that curriculum, Philip assures, is formal religion instruction.
There definitely have to be people out there that recognize that Mount Carmel's been a Catholic school for 66 years. And maybe thinking we're probably not going to change, right? Well, we're not going to change in any substantive way other than we're not going to have formal religious instruction. We're not going to impose, religion in any sort on anybody. We have so much work to do that I don't think that'll be a problem at all.
Meantime, Phillips says there has been a loss of a handful of students due to the switch to charter school, though he says there has been a positive reception to the change and looks forward to student body population increase in June as enrollment remains open. In the meantime, Phillip adds that any student who paid in advance for the school year will be fully refunded as the charter school no longer charges tuition. And amid the changes, he adds one thing staying the same is the school's signature uniform.
The October regular legislative session got underway today. One of the bills discussed was Senator Roy Kanata's measure to transfer the Old Baptist Church property in Inalahan to the Guam Preservation Trust.
This monument is in a dire need of restoration, and to address this bill plans to transfer its jurisdiction from the Nevis Flores Memorial Library to the Guam Preservation Trust. This move will enable the trust to undertake essential stabilization and restoration work, ensuring that the church has longevity for the future generations. It is our collective responsibility to protect such cultural treasures, and I am confident that this bill will contribute to culture and social vibrancy of Inalahan.
The bill was amended to require that control over the restored building would ultimately revert to the Inalahan Village Municipal Planning Council. Meanwhile, a bill was inserted into the session agenda that could provide continued savings to household budgets, provided there's actual funding available. Speaker Therese Terlahi is proposing another $15 million appropriation to continue the Idzura para Itautauta Energy Credit Program for another 90 days. Nasser Lecanto has more.
The $100 a month GPA power bill subsidies first went into effect in July of last year, and the credits have been extended repeatedly since then. Speaker Terlahi wants to continue it for another 3 months because she says the same reasons apply today as when it was declared an emergency more than a year ago.
People are still struggling. On top of the global pandemic, they had suffered the war in Ukraine, inflation, which the testimony showed us increased the gas prices, power prices. Typhoon Mawar came, and we have compounded now rolling power outages, and many have told us that they are still suffering. And if you look at the number of people that apply for unemployment, it's very clear, I think, that they could use this help so that they do not have to choose between food and power.
Terlahi moved to place it on the agenda despite a warning from Appropriations Committee Chairman Joe San Augustine that the proposed funding source, fiscal year 2023 general fund excess revenue, was exhausted when senators during an emergency session a little over a week ago appropriated $30 million for overdue GMH vendor payments. At the time, Speaker Terlahi had unsuccessfully pushed to have the governor use American Rescue Plan funds to cover the hospital's arrears. Terlahi's motion, though, to add her bill to the agenda was successful with the support of Republicans like Senator Tello Taidagui.
Our people are still hurting out there, big time. It's not over yet. Yeah, many of us here may feel comfortable, but think about those who are not right now, and that's a huge percentage of this island.
The administration's fiscal team is expected to be brought in to respond to questions about whether there's any money left to pay for it. Nestor Lecanto, KUAM News.
Thanks, Ness. And speaking of power, expect more potential rolling outages. GPA announced that early Saturday morning, the 43-megawatt PD-8 baseload generator was taken offline for preventative maintenance. It's expected to be brought back online late this evening. Then at about 7:30 Sunday night, the Mechechi combustion turbine unit tripped due to high temperatures, but was returned to service late last night.
Meanwhile, the PD7 unit continues to run on limited production and will be taken offline next week for several days for maintenance and to bring it back to full 31 megawatt capacity. Guam Power is saying large power customers such as the hotels and the military are helping out to voluntarily leave the grid during peak hours and use their generators. Load shedding will be implemented as a last resort. That's what they say. The potential outage schedule is available on GPA's website as well as on KUAM's social media pages.
Wanihi Indigenous Media announces the release of their newest series, Mariana's Cousins, a 4-episode show that features a child from each of the southern sister islands of Guahan, Luta, Tinian, and Saipan as they take you through their daily lives, capturing the simple joys and timeless beauty of homeland and the village. Yeah, KUAM is a proud partner bringing you the show right here on our network. In addition to filming in Guahan, where the production house is based out of, the Nihi Indigenous film crew also spent 3 weeks filming in the Northern Mariana Islands with 5 intense days of filming on each island. Take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes production.
A little lower. Okay, this is Mariana's Cousins, Luta, Saipan, Guahan, Tinian. Take one.
This series showcases the Marianas through the life of a child as we capture the simple joys and timeless beauty of the village.
We wanted to create a series that really focused on nurturing and building relationships across our sister islands, while centering our archipelago. We have so much to share with each other. We have so much in common, so much to learn from each other. And we really wanted to capture how special it is for us to be able to call these islands home.
This is Maliluk. This is the biggest nunu tree in the Marianas. When I come here, I always remember to be respectful to our ancestors and ask permission.
There were so many things that made filming this series really special for me. It was the raw, magnificent beauty of our sister islands, like stepping into a painting. But really it was the generosity and kindness of our cast member families. Meeting them was like meeting extended relatives. And really this whole series was like one big homecoming for me. And just a really strong reminder that our people are so beautiful and thriving and kind, and there's nothing more special than belonging to the Marianas.
We're so excited to share Mariana's Cousins with you. Subscribe below so that you don't miss an episode.
So beautiful.
Viva, Prima.
Yeah, viva. Beautiful. Well, to watch Mariana's Cousins, subscribe to the Nihi Indigenous Media YouTube channel or follow Nihi Indigenous Media on Instagram. You can also catch it on the stations of KUAM and streaming on our local channel on Peacock.
Well, time for a quick break, but keep it here.
You're watching KUAM, your leader in local news.
Peacock is streaming your NBC local station now.
A tip, sending police.
Get your local news and weather.
Wow, definitely one of a kind.
At home or on the go.
Mitigation process.
Plus, your favorite NBC shows. From morning till night, live.
Welcome to Today. So good to have you with us.
You make a great team, huh?
And so much more.
Welcome aboard.
That was awesome.
All in one place. Streaming now on Peacock.
In 2022, the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5 won the award for World Car of the Year. So, of course, the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 just had to go out and win World Car of the Year for 2023. Because everyone knows how competitive sibling rivalries can be. World Car of the Year, 2 years in a row.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Tyrannies of the extreme must end. Americans firmly believe that the needs of the many must outweigh the needs of the few. What folks do in their bedrooms and the lifestyles they choose are protected legal rights. However, the other 99.9999% of Americans have a legal right to be free from those choices. Adolescence is tough, but it is a crime to interfere with the normal and usual course of nature, childhood development. Schools must operate within the parents' reasonable expectations. Most left-leaning folks are moderates. They want the government to have the backs of all Americans. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, find the donor box button. Team America needs your dollars. Together, we will make it work for all of us.
This message is approved and paid for by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
At
Howdy, folks. Nobody loves a Guam potluck more than I do. That's why I always bring my world-famous chicken, served any way you like it. Original recipe, extra crispy tenders, Kentucky Fried Wings, and more. Only at KFC Guam. Whoops. Well, it is finger-licking good.
What you need to know from the Northern Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI on Instagram for the latest regional headlines.
Welcome back to Primetime. A $10,000 reward is now being offered for information that leads to the arrest of Pedro Argote. Argote is accused of fatally shooting a Maryland judge, Andrew Wilkinson. Wilkinson has ties to Guam.
He was born here in the territory. This has the legal community reacting. The judiciary of Guam over the weekend stating that they are deeply saddened by this tragic killing. Chief Justice Robert Torres saying, quote, "Although Judge Wilkinson held court thousands of miles away, his roots in Guam bind him to our island, and he will forever be woven into the fabric of our community. We honor Judge Wilkinson as a distinguished jurist, known for the profound influence he had on those around him through legal practice, his involvement in the church, and coaching youth soccer. His tragic death is a solemn reminder of the ongoing threats and attacks faced by judges and their families. It underscores the urgent need for strengthening judicial security and its far-reaching impact on the very foundation of our justice system." Judge Wilkinson was born on Guam in 1971. Justice Torres adding, "On behalf of Guam's legal community, we offer our deepest condolences to his family and the Maryland judiciary during this difficult time. May his legacy be forever cherished."
A massive manhunt heads into day 4 after Judge Wilkinson was fatally shot in front of his Maryland home. The armed and dangerous suspect, a man whose child custody case was overseen by the judge. Tom Costello now on the urgent search.
It happened in a quiet neighborhood in western Maryland. Circuit Court Judge Andrew Wilkinson gunned down in his driveway. His wife and son inside the house.
This was a targeted attack on Judge Wilkinson.
Police say the suspect is 49-year-old Pedro Argote. Earlier in the day, Judge Wilkinson had awarded custody of Argote's children to his ex-wife, denying Argote visitation rights after a history of domestic violence. Immediately after the shooting, law enforcement moved to protect other judges.
We placed officers and troopers at the local judges here in the county at their residence, just as a precaution initially.
The U.S. Marshals report threats against federal judges and courts peaked at 4,500 in 2021 after the last election. Last year, there were 1,362 threats. It's not common for any judge to be murdered, though in 2017, an Ohio judge was shot outside a courthouse. In 2020, a gunman killed the son of federal judge Esther Salas when he opened the door to the family home in New Jersey. Last year, a former Wisconsin judge was killed by a suspect he'd sent to prison. Now in Maryland, a judge who grew up here murdered outside his home.
You had a husband, but now you don't. You have a dad, but now you don't.
Tonight, local, state, and federal authorities are searching for Argote, who they warn is armed and dangerous.
Well, an eyesore left abandoned on a Tamuning beach, and residents living nearby it want it gone. KUAM's Julian Hernandez spoke with the village mayor, who admits she's been working to make that happen soon.
Sunny skies, still clear blue water, and white sand. Perfect scenery for anyone in the village of Tamuning to sit by and enjoy. Despite the scenic view, there's something not so appealing at the site. A truck, burned, stripped apart, and left abandoned. Mayor Louise Rivera said she is aware of the eyesore and the numerous calls from residents to have it removed. Although she's already working on the issue, she admits it will take some time.
At this time, to remove any abandoned or junk vehicles, we are, we work together with Guam Police Department to find out who the owners of these vehicles are, to get in touch with them and see what their plans are with these vehicles. And, if nothing, then we will have it removed.
She added another reason for the delay is that her office is awaiting their purchase orders from the Mayor's Council, and many of their vendors are still busy with Typhoon Mawar recovery.
Our purchase orders have ended, so we're waiting for the new ones, and we will start going out, start the program again, and have a lot of these abandoned and junk vehicles removed.
Including that, especially that one right there.
Yes.
The abandoned truck is an eyesore in itself on this beautiful beach. And as you can see, as it's parked here, the view is just getting worse. But take a closer look at what's been left behind. Clothes. Apparently, somebody seems to be living here as well.
But according to Rivera,
we were told that there was an individual that sleeps in that truck. And so every time that, our people go over there, that they're not finding anybody there.
Rivera anticipates to start the program to pick up the abandoned vehicles in November.
I know that one is a concern. It's also on the beach side. Coastal management, I was checking to see if they're aware of it as well. And, what they plan to do with it. And then, that certain areas down, where that truck is private property. So, it's a concern for all of us, and we just wish people would respect, our island and all the different properties and not leave their mess around, especially that junk vehicle.
Julian Hernandez, KUAM News.
Well, since a pair of powerful earthquakes in 2016, people in Kumamoto in southern Japan have been focused on recovery. A new museum that opened this summer is part of that effort. Its mission is to not only document the past, but also help people prepare themselves for the next one. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglotnio reports.
This museum behind me captures the stories of the 2016 earthquakes and explores the lessons learned for the future. Time is frozen on this clock at the Kumamoto Earthquake Disaster Museum, Kyoku, 1:25 a.m. on April 16, 2016. That was when a 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit. Residents were still reeling from another powerful quake. It had a magnitude of 6.4 and had struck just 28 hours earlier. The back-to-back earthquakes claimed 273 lives, injured 3,000 people, and damaged thousands of homes. Takayuki Kubo is from nearby Kagoshima. He was living across the country in Tokyo at the time of the disaster and felt he had to help. 3 days after the second earthquake, he arrived in Kumamoto to volunteer with a disaster recovery nonprofit. Today, as the museum's director, his focus is on using the past to educate people so they're ready when the next disaster comes.
I felt it is my mission to keep telling the stories and convey the memory, share the memories of the earthquake. So here I am. I'm together working with 50 personnel, including some guides.
There are many people like Kubo who rush to Kumamoto to help it recover and rebuild. The museum features an entire section on lessons learned from the earthquakes. One resident wrote, "Many houses built before the revised earthquake resistance standards that were introduced in May 1981 suffered serious damage." Another person said that there was confusion and anxiety caused by misinformation on social media.
Well, whether it's Japan or elsewhere in the world, wherever it is, earthquakes can happen, and you cannot eliminate earthquake from happening. You cannot stop it. So we are here, work with the premise that earthquakes may happen. And this is the attitude or way of living. You always have to bear that in mind and act with that mentality so as to save as many lives as possible.
That mentality also includes tangible actions like preparing a go bag with essential items needed for evacuation or relocation after a disaster strikes, such as food, lights, water, and hygiene products. The community as a whole strives to live in harmony with nature in spite of the likelihood of another disaster. A national early earthquake detection system sometimes sends alerts to their phones before they can feel the ground shaking. Kubo says Kumamoto's recovery has quickly progressed, with many nonprofits supporting the effort, and Kubo believes most people in Kumamoto are better prepared for the next natural disaster.
The earthquake can happen anytime, anywhere, so just be prepared. And in order to help each other, what's important is to share information.
Tomas Manglotnio, KUAM News, Minami Aso Village.
Thanks, Tomas. Well, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero was a guest speaker at the 2023 Pacific Defense Contracting Summit in Honolulu last week. The event brings together congressional and military leaders, contracting experts and business leaders to discuss some $858 billion in defense spending for the Pacific region. One of the issues the governor focused on in her remarks were the significant gaps in comprehensive civilian and military medical services across the region. She said regional human health security was her #1 priority and that Guam is, quote, uniquely positioned to be the regional center of excellence for medical services and human health, which is consistent with the needs of my people as well as the national security strategy. The governor also said she met with Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral John Aquilino, who she said wants to, quote, help breathe new life into enhancing medical services on Guam. Separately, Leon Guerrero has been pushing for the construction of a new hospital medical campus in Barrigada. A public hearing on legislation proposed by her is set for November 1st.
Farmers who suffered crop losses from Typhoon Mawar finally be paid an average of $11,000 each. The payments were delayed pending clarification of what the maximum allowed is under the crop loss compensation program. It was earlier this month the Attorney General's office issued its opinion, stating that farmers could receive up to $20,000 and not just $1,500 as initially thought. In a news release, Acting Governor Josh Tenorio states where he announced that some $650,000 in payments have now been made to the first 59 of 131 pending claims. Tenorio also crediting Senator Will Parkinson for pushing to set aside the funding in the fiscal year 2024 budget. The Agriculture Department and the Department of Administration are currently processing those payments.
Local, regional, and international environmental justice leaders and communities coming together, making waves in a healing journey for the Marianas.
Mitsuki Hirayama has a recap of the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance's Making Waves Summit and Ahmed Walk held over the weekend.
Brothers and sisters in the Mariana Islands, the larger Pacific region, and even Turtle Island coming to Guam to make waves. From sharing demands for action in local and international indigenous climate spaces,
our culture sculpted by the land and the water, we offer, we bar the canoe to get stronger, we rising and dying, existing, resisting, oppression, digressing, won't take it much longer.
To calls for peace.
Peace and justice for all people, for the healing of the planet. This is what we need.
The Making Waves Summit started with a ceremony to ground participants in their ancestral knowledge and traditions. The Peace and Climate Justice Summit was hosted by the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance in partnership with the Tishman Environment and Design Center at the New School. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance Communications Director Cami Diaz-Agurola.
For environmental justice leaders in the region, in the Marianas, in the Greater Pacific region, we have invited them here today to share in ceremony and to share their knowledge and their ancestral knowledge, to gather these leaders to make unified decisions against the U.S. military and to make decisions for our Greater Pacific region.
And after the summit, participants gathered for the Ahmed Walk at Fort Apugan Saturday morning, hosted by Sacred Healer Mama Lou.
4 women from the Mariana Islands, myself, Sheila Babauta, Jasmine Flores Cantrell, and Manyeka de Oro, we have organized an Ahmed Walk through the Marianas, which will be taking place on the islands of Guahan. It already happened in Saipan, Tinian, and Luta.
The walk, a prayer for peace and a statement to standing together in global solidarity.
When we belong, when we free our voices, we free our hearts.
Suki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Wow, what incredible talent. They're all coming together for that event, making waves.
Literally making waves. We love to see it.
Right, great job to KUAM Zone there, Cami, and
Shout
to the
out.
Micronesia Climate Change Alliance for making that event possible. We know it wrapped up over in Fort Ofugan on Saturday. Well, it's October, or should I say Spooktober,
Ooh.
the time when KUAM brings you stories about the people from our past, the Tautomona.
Tautomona Tales is back with new episodes rolling out this week. And tonight, we bring you a very special snippet of our first story featuring my papa, Bill Paulino.
Hey, Papa.
Hey.
I remembered right after the house was built, there were lattice stones that were dug up from the house, and so they were put to the side. So one of my experiences, I said, you know, I just want to prove whether this is really right of what my parents were saying about, you know, the need to respect the environment, respect the so-called Tautomona. And so I got up in one of the lattice stones and I started rolling, and I said, you know, and I raised my hand up and I said, you know what, Tautomona, Tautomona, I am stronger than you are and you do not exist at all. And so I said, I'll show you how to do this. And so I took one of the, you know, the lattice stones and I rolled it down the hill.
Oh my gosh.
Little did I know what was going to happen that night. We just got home that evening, I remember, because we went downtown. We got home, and little did I know that the experience that I had during the day, it was going to entail exactly of what, you know, our elders, our ancient Chamorro people were saying, that we need to respect whatever, you know, we have around us, you know, the environment. So doing that day, I didn't think that, you know, something will come back to me and show me that I lost that respect. And sure enough, I went over to the sliding door just to make sure that the sliding door was locked. And the next thing I heard was a real loud banging on the sliding door, and I thought somebody was going to break in. And then I ran over to, you know, the side of the kitchen inside, and I went over and I stood by the door, and another banging was so loud again and started hitting. And then again, when I started hearing a lot of banging on the windows, and it went over to where, you know, my children were sleeping. And all of them, you know, when they heard that real loud banging, they all stood up and they ran out of the room and went to where we were standing. So we finally got into one of the rooms, and we made sure that you know, the children were safe, and we locked the door.
Whoa.
It gives me goosebumps every single time he tells that.
I just want to share a similar incident that happened with me, my Tautomona tale. So late at night, I also heard tapping on my window, and it only was loud and bothersome whenever my TV volume was up loud. I was a kid, and so everyone was already asleep, and I was there in the living room by myself, and I was still watching TV late at night. The lights were off except for the TV screen, and as soon as like the part of the show was at its height with the volume, this is what came on.
Oh my gosh.
And that's on the window. And so I turn it down just to try and verify what's going on.
Yeah.
It stops. So I'm like, all right, turn it back up.
Ooh.
I wasn't about to look outside, but I mean, it wasn't as crazy as what you imagine. What are you doing? Who is it? Yeah, no, I wasn't messing with it. But isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Your Papa Zone's pretty crazy.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
Like my mom, her sisters, and her brother, they were all there. So they all had the exact same account of that exact story. And we grew up listening to that story. But I love how my grandpa underscores, you know, the need to just respect. So when you hear anything kind of odd, just apologize. You know, sometimes we do things that we may not be aware of. Yeah. And so I love that he underscored that. But
you had a similar, your own encounter.
I have many. So I remember I went to Maritzo with my papa and my sisters, and we just went through the jungle. My papa was showing us around. And then that same night, I went to sleep, and I could just feel someone breathing over me. And no one's there.
What?
Yeah, and I could just feel a presence. So that happened for about a month. I could not sleep, like at all.
You feel wind?
I feel like someone over me, like breathing. There were also times where I can see a shadow, but no one's there, and it's not my own.
Yeah.
So I remember I was at a conference, and then I believe she was a Surahana. She came up to me, and she like just went like this, and she got goosebumps all over her body, and she was like, "You need to come immediately to Sagan Katura so I can do a cleansing."
Yeah.
So I found out later on that like I brought a spirit with me. I guess they took a liking to me, and so they just stayed with me. But it was all great at the end because fortunately they say it was a good spirit, so not a harmful one. So I was like, oh, thank the Lord.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know where you hear many stories like that with the ending, it's all good
it's all
at
good.
the end of it.
But it's fine.
Good one.
Good one.
Glad you're here. Glad you're safe.
Here.
And what's that? Just kidding.
Girl. My God. Well, good to know. Well, guys, if you want to hear more stories like this, because I know so many people have similar encounters, right? You can catch Tauto Tales this week right here on the stations of KUAM and on our YouTube channel at KUAM News.
That's right.
All
I know
right.
your Papa's Zone, more of it tonight after prime time.
Yes, for sure. All right, guys, so now for a look at your world at home. All right, here's a beautiful view captured from First Beach in Ipan in Salafoko.
Wow, look at how the water just reflects right there, the sky. This view plus much more music streaming on Isla Digital Radio.
Cada dia zampuengi istigi una fata give you
Oh, they're ready. When it comes to the good stuff,
oh my goodness gracious,
they stay ready.
These are the two sauces, sweet and spicy jam, and the mambo.
Look how that thing drizzle on there.
The way it's glistening, stop. Oh my.
Sweet and spicy jam and mambo sauce are on the McDonald's menu for a limited time.
Oh my goodness.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Don't need to work, babe, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Okay, everybody, we are talking about hints, allegations, and things left unsaid. Specifically, that's a very, very fancy way of saying rumors and how dangerous they can be. And normally we talk about, at least for news, when you assume something's happening or when you start making stuff up or you pass along bad information. Landon Aidlet is now in my world. And it's a weird place to be, but you are actually starting to kind of experience kind of that dynamic, Landon, because like what we found out last week is a lot of people use tools like Windy and the 10-day forecast, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, there's something on the way." That proved not to be the case.
Yeah, and we get those questions all the time during the wet season, and I mean it's mid-October that these emails and phone calls and messages started coming through. Usually this happens around August, but not to the extent that it did last weekend. I was receiving a ton of messages, phone calls. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Is this another one? Is this another threat? And so the forecast on some of these weather apps was showing the long-range forecast models outwards of 8 to 10 days into the future. Once you get past 6 days, remember, that's la la land. That's in the realm of speculation and tabloids. And so that's what was the case. And I'm gonna turn my screen around.
Perfect way to phrase that. Tabloids. Yeah, it's tabloid weather.
Yeah, it's all for entertainment at that point. So last weekend, around October 14th, 15th, and 16th, some of the long-range models were showing a typhoon sitting right about here. Obviously, we have nothing there. It's all trade winds, and it's all trade winds all the way to the dateline. We have some junk over here with some upper-level disturbance going on, but otherwise, it's all trade winds across the region to east of Guam and the CNMI. No tropical weather threats. At least for us, at least for the next week and a half, because that's really within the realm of reality. And so when these forecast models are spinning up these tropical cyclones, especially beyond 6 days into the future, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because that can change significantly in the next 6-hour forecast model and then onward over the next several days. And we saw this supposed tropical cyclone keep getting kicked down the road. And now it's not even there in the forecast models. And so that's the good news for us, is we have no tropical cyclone threat right now. We're not looking at a typhoon tomorrow. But you have to take it with a grain of salt, because we are looking at these forecast models. So trust us when these rumors are sharing and being spread on social media and WhatsApp. Contact the Weather Service. Go to our Facebook or our Facebook page. Are we communicating any threat? Because we will be communicating if we have a significant emerging tropical weather threat.
Yeah. So basically, if you're on Facebook, or if you're on Instagram, everybody, I mean, I know it's real tempting to just hit that share button, maybe hit the message button and message Landon and his crew over, because I know you guys have a response metric and you say you try to respond to everybody, and you do, but usually like within 20-25 minutes.
Correct. And we like to pride ourselves in our customer service because we're the government, and
it's free. You guys aren't invoicing anybody for this.
Yeah, the government experience is not always a good one, but we like to be the top of the class when it comes to federal government agencies.
Mm-hmm. And, just the fact that if a bad piece of information, regardless of how innocuous and everything like that, it can have really, really wide sweeping implications and everything like that. And that's when things start going sideways.
And we were getting those. I was getting messages from people in Saipan telling people in Guam to cancel your plans. They'll come up here. We have a typhoon coming. And so it's messages like that. And so you have to, again, take it with a grain of salt, because things change, especially when you're looking way beyond a week into the future.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Want a real taste of New York? The classic New York style pizza offers a big, bold taste that's a Guam favorite. Handmade to perfection on a crust that's 30% larger than our large. It's just $11.99 per carryout. Classic New York style pizza, only at your island Pizza Hut.
There it is. My dad went EV.
It's electric. Don't be shocked.
The guy who's eternally locked out of his email is going EV. Ooh, nice car.
Actually, it's an EV. Rhymes with Kev. Look, EVIP parking.
I get it. You think They don't charge fast enough or go far enough.
Up to 80% charge in 18 minutes. Range? Heck, we could go to Mexico.
Are you Kevin Bacon?
But EVs aren't going to stop being a thing. Look at the Ioniq 6.
Maca mushroom frap for Kevin.
So just make the leap already.
Okay, watch this. Blue or red? Blue light, red light. I can also make it play nature sounds if you want.
Let's just drive.
Introducing the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 with up to 360-mile range. When it comes to EVs, we're thinking of every mile.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Oh, boy. See, now she's got me doing it. But you know, one trend I have always been on is doing news bites telling you what is happening on the album. No more Taylor Swift lyrics in this one, we think, right? All right, on Sunday, October 29th, you want to get ready for Halloween the right way, and your friends at the mall, the Micronesia Mall up here in Harmon, they're in Dedido technically, wear your costume to the mall because up for grabs, over $2,000 in prizes and special gifts from Burger King. Then, on Tuesday, October 31st, that is Halloween night on a Tuesday this year, beginning at 6 p.m., trick-or-treating along with spooky DJ entertainment. On Saturday, November 4th, you want to check out another amazing island event because you were invited to the Wings of Paradise. Remember, this got pushed back a little bit because of the storm a couple weeks ago. It is back now, November 4th on a Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. Learn about the history of flight, the dynamics of flight, the technology of flight, everything. Job opportunities in flight, right there. Flight attendants, mechanics, flight schools. So much to learn about aviation, about aerodynamics, about aeronautics. If you want to program this kind of stuff, I'm all on board with that. So make sure to check it out. At WomenInAviation_Guam on Instagram is the account you want to follow. And if you're up in Rota, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Rota, our friends up there, are having a day of unity and hosting a 3-on-3 friendly basketball tournament. Please make sure to check it out. Contact the Rota Division of Youth Services for more information. All right. Should I do another Taylor Swift lyric? I know Destiny wants me to, but you know, I'm not going to give it the satisfaction. So, back to you. You guys sing Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow. Did you see him catch the tune there off the top?
Literally, I was like, whoa, Jason.
Yeah, he's a Swiftie.
Love it.
For sure. It's birthday wishes time.
Here's your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout-out submitted on KUAM.com.
It is the 23rd of October, everybody, so happy birthday to Brianna Tyron, and your shout-out says, happy birthday, blessings, Bri, and then, like, the really cool, like, party emoji, that's a special one. Love Noah and the family, and then the heart emoji, so you got 2 emojis in one shout-out. Nice job. Cherika Mateo, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Love your family and friends. And then a pair of belated birthday wishes going out today. First to Tori Brianne Cruz. Happy belated birthday to Tori, who celebrated on Saturday. All right, weekend birthday. Keep thriving, your friends say. And they say they love you so very much, as well as your family, too. And then Shayna O'Neill, who's born on the 22nd. Happy belated birthday to you, and we hope you had a great one with many, many, many more to come.
Happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there. That's your primetime show. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Stay beautiful, Guam.